Okay, we've been talking about the First Bank of Dodge City. And the First Bank of Dodge City has to do two things to be a bank. It has to take deposits and make loans. So we have a total of 10,000 silver dollars in Dodge City. And it all comes into the bank as a deposit. So now all 10,000 of those silver dollars are sitting in a vault in Dodge City, and everybody has a passbook savings in which they can go get their $10,000 anytime they please, because that's what that book says. Well, if you've ever had one of those passbook savings, you need to turn it over and look at the fine print on the back, because there's a whole bunch of fine print on the back. And part of the fine print says we reserve the right to say no if we're a little bit short sometimes. Yes, it does say that. Does it really? Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Lawyers all the time say, read the documents. Nobody reads the documents. They always say, don't sign anything. We sign everything all day long. If you get a speeding ticket, guess what happens if you don't sign it? Bad things. I'll just leave it at that. Bad things happen. Why? The lawyer says, don't sign anything. But I want to get to work. The only way I can get to work is sign this thing. If I don't, he says sign here, and if I don't sign there, he's going to cart me away like this, and I'm going to haul it. Oh, you want a student loan? Sign here. Oh, you want to register for those classes? Sign here. They say don't sign anything. Yeah, that's pretty wise advice. But practically speaking, what do? We sign. We sign. We give our Social Security numbers out like water, like candy. I mean, anybody asks for it and we give it to them. As a matter of, is that smart? If you read any place, should you tell your Social Security number to anybody? No. I'm really on shaky water here, but I was, at one point in time, how were you identified inside the records of this college? Your Social Security number. Was that legal? No. Was everybody doing it? Of course. Of course everybody does it. Why? Because it's the one number that I know is really identified with you. Is anybody else legally have the right to know that? No, they don't. But it's going to really, I won't get registered in time, and they're saying, what's wrong? Well, give me your Social Security number. Just don't go there. So anyway, we've settled all that, and now you have a student identification number, and they don't really need your Social Security number unless you do something like make a student loan or something where the federal government's involved. If the federal government's involved, yes, they have the right to know. Does a bank have a right to know? Yes, a bank has a right to know. But does anybody else have the right to know? No, they don't have a right to know. But they'll make life hard for you if you don't give it out. And so now we're on places like, what is the latest one? Tiger.com or something like that. Some major retailer that says, oh, by the way, we just lost 3 million Social Security numbers of our customers. Oops. Anyway, I'm off topic here. Where was I? We were talking about, yes, we're talking about how commercial banks create money through the fractional reserve loan process. Now, when commercial banks create fiat money, and that's what they're creating, they're not creating gold and silver. They're not creating IOUs in gold and silver. They're creating fiat money. That kind of money, I don't read it very often, but I think I've seen it in some textbook. I call it at least low-powered fiat money. The money that's created through the fractional reserve banking system is low-powered money. In our illustration in the First Bank of Dodge City, this 10,000 physical silver dollars, this is the high-powered money. You need the high-powered money in order to create the low-powered money. See how it works? Without any high-powered money, you can't create low-powered money. And notice something else here that I haven't mentioned yet. We went from having $10,000 of purchasing power in Dodge City grow to $18,000 plus another $6,400 of purchasing power floating around in Dodge City of people buying and stuff because they've got the money in their account to do it, and the economy booms. Boom. What would happen to this particular county if all of a sudden everybody had a $10,000 zero interest loan for 10 years? I know they would all keep it in their basement, right? They would never touch it. Never touch it. The economy go boom, right? I think it would. So notice, let's say that now we've got another $5,120 of loanable funds that we could be getting interest on as a bank, and we're not because, come on, get out there, find some good people to loan some money to. You can find them. They're out there. I know they're out there. You just got to find them. Come on, go find them. And if you're good at that, you can go up the ranks of bank or whatever because you're bringing in the money. That's how we make money off that interest. So we find somebody else to loan the money to. We say, hey, here's the paper. Use the paper. Here's your 5,120 silver dollars. Really good doing business with you. Go put that money to good use so you can make a profit and you can pay us some interest on our $5,120, and you can come get your $5,120 anytime you want to, because I'm going to put them right back in the bank, or right back in the vault there. I put it right back in the vault as a brand new deposit, and look what is happening to the amount of money in Dodge City as we go through this process. It's getting bigger and bigger. But the loans are getting relatively smaller, but they still keep going. Let's go one, can we go one more or two more? We take that, and what number do we put here, class? 1,024. We subtract this from this, and what do we get over here? 4,096. Let's change the scenario. Let's say we're going and we're trying to find somebody. We finally found somebody to loan $4,096 to. But they're just a little bit of the sky's going to fall, chicken little, paranoid type. And we pull out our 4,096 silver dollars. They sign the thing. We put it in our asset portfolio. And we're saying, do you have a pretty secure place to put this? Oh, yeah. You going to get it to your house or wherever you're going to keep it without a whole lot of people knowing that you got a mother load of silver someplace around there? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want to come back in about an hour, and I want to get it from the back door. I don't want to take it out the front door. I want to take it the back door. You want to take it home, or wherever you're going to keep it? Yeah, yeah. Oh, you don't want to put it for safekeeping back in my vault? No. Are you sure? Well, yeah. Well, you know, if you lose that, it's gone, and you can't pay back the loan, and we're going to have to foreclose on your house and your ranch and your business. Yeah, I know that. And you don't think it might be safer to put it in our vault here? Well, maybe, but I don't want to do it. Oh. Do I have to? No, you don't have to put it back in the vault, but it's yours. I mean, we loaned it to you. You do whatever you want with it, but I just, normally people put it back in, not me. Okay. If that money, $4,096, goes to his hideout and gets stored underneath the floorboards of his outhouse, who's going to be digging around there anyway, right? Not me. What happens to our low-powered money creation process? If we cannot take this and put it back in the vault to hold out 20%, to loan 80%, to loan out, to hold out 20%, loan 8. What happens to our low-powered money making ability? It stops. It stops. The only way we can make low-powered money is if we get more high-powered money, and that means silver dollars that's got to come into our vault for the first time, and the process stops. If people don't take out loans, commercial banks cannot expand the money supply. Is there a vested interest in the bank to try to convince people that they ought to keep their money in the bank? Yes, because now they can make interest on $8,000 and $6,400 and $5,100 and $4,000 and $3,000 and $2,000 and $1,000. Isn't it better making interest on all of this rather than just the first loan or the second loan? Obviously, yeah. So although, yes, there are many know your customer, currency transaction reports, look out for cash and money laundering, which we talked about before, is there an economic incentive for the banks to know their customer and give people a hard time and ask them personal questions if they're going to take a lot of cash out of the bank? I don't know about you, but I've tried to take cash out of the bank, and the teller say, what are you going to do with this? Excuse me? Yeah, well, what you're taking a lot of cash out of the bank. What are you going to do with this? My first thought is, it's my money. What do you mean, what am I going to do with my money? Whatever I feel like doing with my money. No, what are you going to do with this? Well, I'm going to buy something. Well, why don't you use a checkbook? Because I don't want to use my checkbook. What's it to you? No, why don't you use your checkbook? Some people don't take checks. Is that true? Yeah, that's true. Oh, they don't take checks. Yeah, checks do bounce. So you're going to buy something that nobody wants to take a check? Yeah. Well, you don't need to take cash. Well, I want to take cash because I know they'll take cash. No. Here, give me the cash back, and I'll give you a bank cashier's check. And now you can take the bank cashier's check, and our cash will stay back in our high-powered money. Our high-powered money will stay back in the bank while you get an IOU that's drawable on the bank. Now, you understand, most people don't understand. They don't have to understand. But basically, we're saying the ability of this bank to increase the amount of money that they can create out of nothing, low-powered money, in order to collect interest on, is their ability to bring high-powered money into the vault and keep it in the vault so they can continue this process. So yes, there's legal things and know your customer and currency transaction reports, but it's in the bank's interest. They might even say thank you to the federal government for having all these rules and regulations, which keeps cash out of the hands of the public and keeps it in their vault, and only use cash for small change. It's really sad, and I could give you the illustrations, but you could find them on YouTube, and you can find them if you want to look at it. But if you are pulled over at a traffic stop, and for whatever dumb reason you say you can search my car, and that is a dumb, whatever it is, dumb, just plain dumb. I mean, and they just happen to see a bag, and they say, what's in the bag? And you just happen to say, what's in the bag is my gym clothes. Oh, can I see them? Well, what do you normally say, a cop? Can I see your gym clothes? What are you, a pervert or something? No, you don't say that. You don't say Eeks. Why am I saying this on camera? I don't know, I just watched some YouTube of somebody who had the audacity to think that he can run away from a policeman. That's called insubordination. Give me your name. Run him back. And unfortunately, it's in the news. You can look it up. The police officer just shot him in the back 4 times. Boom, 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 boom. And then walked over and dropped his taser and phoned in that he grabbed my taser, and so I had to shoot him. Now, that's the tip of the iceberg. We're going into a militarized not a police state, but more like a military occupation state where policemen, there's a set of rules. I mean, policemen hardly ever, if ever, get indicted for doing anything wrong because they're wearing a badge. So I'm getting off on a tangent here. Why am I on this tangent here? I don't know what I'm on this. If you ever, that's where I'm going. If you ever have cash on you, $1,000, $2,000, whatever, they'll just take it. You are guilty. You are presumed to be guilty unless you can prove yourself innocent. Called asset forfeiture. All they have to do is get a dog out there and go, yeah, it smells your cat. Yep, that's drugs. we got your money. I'm just saying current events that I probably should be on a digression about. But my point is all those laws tend to keep cash out of the hands of the public because the banking industry as well as the government wants it in here. In this particular state, it's a felony to have a secret compartment in your car. If you wanted to take your cash someplace and you hide it behind the taillight, that's a felony. That's not a misdemeanor. That's a felony. You know you're not allowed to be private. Government's allowed to be private. You're not allowed to be private. Everything you know, you're not allowed to hide anything. Go look it up for yourself. Now, why the legislatures in Ohio decided it was a good idea that I cannot hide whatever I want to hide in my car if I go to the grocery store or something, they think they're doing a good thing. But on the other hand, it's taking away from our liberties, and our liberties are directly tied to our economic efficiency and our ability to be free and all those sorts of things. Now, if that cash ever leaves the bank and doesn't stay in there, then that stops the low-powered money creation system. So let's say that everybody plays the game. Everybody trusts the bank. Everybody wants to keep their money in the bank. You got to be tinfoil hat, crazy, paranoid sort of person if you don't think that the banks are safe. And I still remember the generation of my grandparents. No, they would rather have the cash. They trusted their own little tin can hidden in the back porch underneath the boards because they'd been there and they got burnt, and they say, which is the worst risk to me? And they remember a risky situation where they decide they would rather rely upon themselves than on the system. But normally we continue to play this game. How big, if we continue the 4096 and we do it and we put the next one down here and we do it, we can grow this $10,000 into how much total money in Dodge City. There is a formula for that. It's called the multiplier. The money multiplier, I'll say MM. The money multiplier that multiplies this number into this number is a very simple formula. The money multiplier equals 1 divided by the required reserves. That's this thing right here. That will give us the money multiplier. We take this times the money multiplier to get how many total dollars through the fractional reserve learning system we can grow the economy. So let's do it. Let's see. We know that that's 1 over, our number over here is 20%, right? And that's the same thing as 1 over 0.2, right? And 20 cents goes into a dollar, 20, 40, 60, 80, a dollar goes into it 5 times, right? So our money multiplier is 5. We take our $10,000 times 5, and if we take this fractional reserve money machine and we take it to the max where I'm not going to bother to find somebody to borrow $5 from me. I'm not going there. But effectively down to no more excess reserves, we can grow it up to a theoretical possibility maximum of $50,000. The original high-powered money plus all the low-powered money that we can create can add up to a total of $50,000. You see how I got that? Or you see the procedure? Think to yourself, okay, we live in this community here. And let's say that there's $10 million in this community here that we're living in. And all of a sudden, we go from $10 million of money running around, changing hands in our community, to $50 million running around, changing hands in our community. Do you think you would notice anything in your community? Do you think that people are going to have higher incomes? Think the IRS is going to be able to collect more funds? Do you think this thing's going to be booming? They are going to be booming. You would think. And normally, that's true because it's hard. If you got access to money, it's kind of hard to keep them down on the farm when there's money to be spent. Let's change something here. And we're going to change something, and then we're going to go back and take a next step here. But very, very quickly, we should stop and come back to the next segment of this story. I take it all back. I want to go 10 more minutes. But I'll take a break and come back.